Hello everybody, NC4XL, North Carolina for extreme lovers. And as a few of you have gotten to know me, I am not. I'm just Dom, the darling old man, and I really want to introduce myself so that you know who I am when you hear me out there and what I'm doing. This video is a revision of one I created some time back for all of our new POTA Parks on the Air members that have continually grown. I do this video on my own. I am not asked to do it. I'm not paid to do it. I'm not giving anything to do it. I just find and feel that I have a different type of way of sharing some things, and people got a choice. Click the button, go away, or listen to what the old man has to say. So I welcome you to observe if you're new, whether you're an activator, that's the person going out and putting out the park entity, or the hunter who has stumbled on to one of the park activations or POTA, CQ POTA, and didn't know what it was. And you found yourself intrigued enough to, well, that sounds interesting. So that's the direction that I'm going to go, is for those who are new. But this is great refiller, refreshing the brain waves a little bit to say, oh yeah, I forgot all about that. It's probably going to be about 30 minutes. I'll give you a heads up. I ramble on. I like having fun. So, when I started in April the 23rd of 2021, I had no intentions of ever getting to where I'm at now. I have over 140 activations now, 23 parks in the state of North Carolina. I have no desire to work all the parks in North Carolina. But each one of us that are in Parks on the Air have many different opportunities and challenges and desires to achieve. Mine was to get out of the house. And listen, hunters, if you're able to, and I'm disabled, and my disability is getting in the way now, but if you're able to get out of the house where you have the comforts of restrooms, refrigerators full of food, the smoking materials that you need, you know, Smokey the Bear don't like fires in the woods, and you want to see some of the fantastic parks we have in this United States, get out of the house. I'll say it as plain and blunt as I can say it. Stop sitting there being a couch potato and get out if you can. Experience it at least once or twice anyways if you have a possible desire to go activate a park. So let's get some of the things squared away up front that hunters always ask. Do I got to send a log in? Nope. But keep a log at your own house. Always keep a log. You should. That's part of FCC years ago. The activator sends a log in. Now, hunters, you do not send a log in. The activator, when they complete their rove or their vacation or their activation for that day, and they submit their log, activators, are you listening? When they submit their log to K, whatever the digit in their call sign is, I'm going to use me for an example. N4 is November Charlie 4 X-ray Lima. I will send it to K4 parks on the air. If my call was NC7, then I would send it to K7parksontheair.com, okay? I would send my ADIF file to the coordinator for my area. My area, again, is 4 land because of the 4 in my call sign. If my call sign had a 7, then I would send it to 7 land coordinator. Again, activators only. Hunters, time out, take a deep breath. Don't worry about it, relax. Activators, time out, take a deep breath. When your log is sent, don't worry about it. If there's a mistake in it, we'll say, you will be notified. You don't have to send an email. Hey, did you get my file? They have up to 30 days, and most of them don't use 30 days, okay? They have up to 30 days to get it processed. And we can't complain because they're volunteers. At present time, we're not able to upload our own. But they're volunteers. They are providing you and me a service. I'm a hunter also, and I'm an activator. So I utilize them to process my logs when I send them up. As a hunter, and many of you are, who want to see if your contact got recorded, as a hunter, when the logs get processed, it generally takes 24 hours from the time that the activator is notified, if they're even notified. And they don't have to be notified. That's a complimentary thing based on individual coordinators, how they wish to do it. But if you get up every morning like I do and you go to the hunter's log, you'll see who's already posted their logs, and they've been processed, and you'll see the contacts there. I'll say that again. If you're a hunter and you want to see if somebody's logs finally got uploaded, go to the app, go to My Hunter's Logs. When you click on it, it'll show the most recent logs posted for you. And that's one way you can check if that individual or set individuals have accomplished what you're looking for. Okay? As an activator, you click on My Activations on the app. And when you click on My Activations, it'll show your most recent activations that have been processed. If you're on a rove or you're on vacation and you sent several logs, then it might not have all of them processed, okay? We got to have a word from our sponsor. Yeah, you know that's my trademark, folks. If you see 2, most generally, I'm getting ready to go. Park to parks, pile-ups, spotting page. I'm going down my list, and I'm going to talk next about pile-ups. When you hear pile-ups out there, they're going to probably take one at a time, because most people are using a device to log, and I'll explain the difference here in a moment. Pile-ups are tough. And you'll learn each activator, hunters, you'll learn each activator how they actually operate. Some of them it takes a bit. Activators are new, so they haven't quite got over the overwhelmness of being clobbered with a signal that it's hard to explain them unless you've been on the other side of that pileup. Okay? So give them patience. If you're in too big of a hurry and you don't want to wait, go to the spotting page and see who's next and rove on down and work those and come back. An activator can only work one person at a time, period. And it's not always about how much power for you to get in. It's how the band propagations are working and who else is fighting you for power. So just take your time on the pileups. As an activator, let's talk on the other side of it. As an activator, you're in control of your activation. Did you hear that? You're in control of your activation. You operate it the way you would like to operate within the guidelines and the code of conduct that we have. Now for me, and those of you who have known me for about a year now, you know exactly how I work. First is last, and last is first, and I'll explain it again real quickly. First is last, and last is first. When I run pileups, I'm going to do it on paper. If I spill my coffee on my paper will dry, and I'll be able to at least decipher my paper. If I spill my coffee on my device, that's not necessarily a true fact. So that's why I do it my way. I go home, I put it on N3FJP AC log. That's my logging software that I use at home. Okay? But when I'm taking a list, and I ask for a list, I ask for it purposely. Send me your calls. I'll take parcels, 4, 5, 6, 7 parcels. And the last person I hear, which is generally a QRP or somebody who knows how I operate, tail ending it, so that they can get their call in, and I'm going to work backwards. My logs reflected time-wise too. That's just me. Every one of us activators is different. So hunters, work your activators the way they are working. Work your activators the way they are working. Pileups, we all manage them different. Hunters, all activators run it their way. Activators, if you're paying attention, here's a little thing that all of us do, we just don't realize we do it. If the bands are busy, go out and work every one of your park-to-parks you can before you get out activating, because once you get activating, you're locked into a frequency. You're locked into an activity. And unless you're not busy, you're not going to have time to go run and pounce. There's that word, pounce. Some of you will hear it. What does that mean? That means going from place to place and work all the park-to-parks right away while you can. But work them. If you're in 2 parks and they're in 2 parks, that's 4 contacts done. The magic number 6, correction, don't you wish it was? The magic number is 10. But for me, 12 to 15 better be minimum. And if I'm having a 12 to 15 day, I'm having a problem for me, myself, and I. We're all different. We all have different desires of how strong and what we want to shoot for. Some activators will be there for 2 hours. And I love 2-hour pileups. Wears the heck out of a battery. But you hunters, pay attention here. There's activators that are going to make 12, 15, 18 contacts and QRT, going to the next row, going to the next park. Don't get mad at them. Don't feel bad that you didn't get in their log. Each activator has a total different desire or accomplishments that they want to make. They're on time constraints. They're on a lunch hour. They're borrowing somebody's car. The tire's going flat on the bike. There's too many variables that you don't see on the other side of this video for that activator. Activators, work your pileups before you get started. That's something you really need to consider. Spotting page. Let's talk about spotting. As an activator, when you get up, you spot yourself. If you're on a twofer, put in comments the other park. I activate from my phone, so once I put the information into the comments section, especially if there's 2 ops or 3 ops, I'll press hard and I want to copy it and I'll save it, so when I go back to spotting again, all I have to do is hit paste and it puts that same information in, because we all know that on the spotting page, when the next person spots you, the little things that you put both park numbers in isn't there anymore, because the fresh spot clears it out. So if you're in a pileup, don't hesitate as an activator to ask, hey, could you spot me? Many times you'll hear me at the house and I'll work somebody and I'll tell them I'll be spotting you. And I purposely tell them that, because that's one less bit of frustration on the activator's mind if they're getting enough support, if you want to call it, or making people aware of where they're at. Okay? So many of you who are hunters and have been around for many years longer than me, I'm just a babe in this, okay? I've only been doing it since November of 2020. Many hunters will spot you automatically, which is great. And if you're an activator, you want them to spot you. Keep your number and name at the top of the list, so to speak. So if you have an opportunity to help an activator, spot them. If you're out pouncing and you want to spot the park that you worked, it shows then that you worked them, so you don't go do a dupe in your log, but at the same time it gives them activity. Once you get on a frequency, then just keep yourself spotted. You get a lull in it, go to the spotting page, zip, zip. There you are. Put paste, puts the information back in, spot it again, and rock and roll. Enough on the spotting. We all need to help our activators. I'm going down my list, so bear with me on some of the things I wanted to talk about. When we're out there as activators, we are now hearing, did you hear this? Hearing more England and Ireland and Japan and Cuba and Puerto Rico and Alaska. Come on, Hawaii, get in this, I don't hear you. All these other countries and outside states, don't want to forget that, joining in POTA and Parks on the Air. And it's a great feeling when you're talking to France and they're sitting in their car or they're sitting in their park and you're talking to France park to park, running battery powered, not commercial powered, running an end-fed antenna or a buddy pole or whatever, but making a communication. And there's more and more countries are coming on board, and more people with inside those countries are getting the addiction, okay? So look for them and listen for them. You hunters, if you're smart, get on the air. You're up at 5 or 6 a.m., go to the spotting page and look and see what countries are on 20 meters and 40 meters, because that's the most active that I've seen. That's what I have seen. That doesn't mean that they're the most active totally. It's what I look at. And everything about this video is what I've observed, I've personally experienced, okay? So that's the only reason I share it. The antenna situation, let's talk about that for activators. When you're out there, you have several different options to use. End-feds, that's my antenna choice. The TDLs, NVIS type antenna by Chameleon. I have one of those in the car. Wolf River Coil, an excellent vertical antenna, great for 2 bands if you don't mind running back and forth, having to tune it. There's a lot of parks that we go to that may not allow you to throw an antenna in a tree or to drive a spike in the ground, and you have to utilize something of this nature. Whatever you use is good for you. You're not putting the antenna up to impress anybody, you're putting the antenna up to make contacts. Contacts, it's not a contest, it's contacts. Okay? Cold weather pushes me to run a mag mount antenna. There's been times where I had the end fed up in the air, but it's not resonant on 17, and I don't like tuners. That's me, myself, and I. So I'll use the 17-meter resonator or hamstick on the car and work 17 and make contacts. Or I'll put a 17-meter dipole up when I pull up two antennas. Every one of us has the best antenna that works for us. It's whether we're able to use that antenna at every activation. I'm always looking to experiment on something easier and different. And my element is with being, and we all have different disabilities in life, it's got to be easier. I can't be messing with it. I can't be running back and forth, back and forth. That's why I've gone away from the Wolf River, because if you change bands, it's running back and forth and fine tuning. The end fed that I use, which is Vibraplex, which is 10 through 40, which requires no tuner, which requires no counterpose. You can run it up 30 feet, 50 feet, 80 feet, whatever your desire is and abilities to get it up. I cheat. I use a fishing rod, 25-pound test, 4 ounces of sinker weight, up, over, pull my paracord, bring it back, hook up the antenna to the paracord, and if I'm running the 17 meter, I'm tying it off too so that I have all 5 bands going up at one time. Now again, I don't want to use a tuner. I have one, but I don't want to use it. I don't want to put anything else in the middle of getting my antenna out the tip of the antenna, so to speak. But that's just me. That doesn't make it right or wrong. It's just me. Okay? So we talked about it. In the morning time or afternoon, depending on your work schedule, go to the awards page on the POTA app. Go to the awards page and click on awards and see what's new. See what's new. Because we used to get notified that new awards were being published, but a lot of impatient people pushed friendliness and common sense to a point that, and I respectfully understand what admin had to do. But when the awards get published or processed is only by us checking daily now, instead of being notified to go check. Those are some of the things that have made this part of amateur radio hobby something I enjoy, because you never know what you're going to get. For you new hunters, why am I working that person 25 times in that same park? Don't they ever go anywhere? Well, get out there with and understand the hour-and-a-half drive to get to that park, or the time to set up. There's awards that you receive as a hunter and as an activator for making contacts with the same party at that same park for so many contacts. Operator to operator. Or for me as an activator, I activated that park 20 times. I got a kilo out of that park, 1,000 contacts. I have one park I'm very close to 3,000 contacts out of. When I go to my profile, it shows that over 17,000 contacts. That's from working people. Band propagation, you learn it if you put it on QSO map. That's what I use. And you upload your ADIF file from the activation, or your logbook. If you did it from your own regular logbook and sent the ADIF to it, you could actually see where all your contacts are. It is award achievement levels in different stages, and you really need to check it every day. I have a POTA addiction, as I call it. First thing that I do when I get up, I go check POTA. As an activator, I go check, make sure my log got uploaded. And we're very blessed here in Foreland. We are super blessed in Foreland. And there's many other areas that are super blessed because their coordinators, whether people know it or not, send a courtesy complimentary, yes, your log is uploaded, thanks for your support. And those little few words mean a lot to us activators, they really do. Okay, we took care of that. We talked about first is last. Here's something for the activators. Hunters probably won't have any desire for it, but 2 is 1, 1 is none. I mentioned that I take X number of antennas. Well, I've got 2 radios in the car too. 2 is 1, 1 is none. If you take 2 radios and one breaks down, you don't have a problem because you have a backup radio. But if you take 1 radio and it goes down, you're done. So that's not required by anybody. That's a personal thing. That's what I do. Why? Because I don't want to drive all that way and be done. Same thing with my antennas. That's why I have multiple antennas, because each park area is different, or an antenna goes bad, or a coax end gets crimped or cut. There's too many other variables. When you carry your supplies, make a checklist. Make sure everything is in your checklist. Not on the paper, but make sure you got it. Physically mark it off. I have that, I have that, I have that. Okay? If you're taking out a brand new antenna and you haven't set it up out of the park yet, hopefully you're smart enough to have set it up 2, 3, 4, 5 times at your house or your neighbor's house or a local park where you live at. Set it up. Take it down, set it up, take it down. Make sure you know or feel comfortable using that antenna and you have all the parts so that you don't do a oops moment like I left this at the house and there's no place to buy coax at. And I'm sitting here an hour and a half away from from home at a park and cannot operate. Call it making lemon out of your lemonade or lemonade out of your lemonade type thing. What do you do next to change the situation you have to becoming a profitable day in some way? Common supplies that people forget when you're an activator. When you go out, bug spray, you need pencil and paper, even though you're logging with the device. Hello, listen to me. You need a pencil, a paper, a pad, whatever, and keep it with you regardless of you having a device to log on. Because when it goes, you're going to be scrounging around for something to write on, and toilet paper's hard because it's too thin. Have a paper, pencil, and be ready for a backup. Take your water or a beverage drink that you can get into the park. In other words, no alcohol, okay? Most parks are frowned upon that. Have your extra sinkers if you're using the method that I use to get the line up and over the tree. Have extra sinkers. Not that you need them, but if you need them and don't have them, you're in trouble. And they will get stuck on the tree somehow. They just magically attach themselves. Extra coax. You don't need 3 rolls of 50 feet coax. I only use 50-foot runs. Some people use 75, some people use 100. Again, if you've tested your system out, then you'll know what you need, and then you'll have the backup in case. Bug spray. There's some other devices out there that I'm going to be experimenting with, but bug spray. When those little critters start biting on you, guess what? Your attention span to the radio doesn't exist very long, especially when you're scratching and all. You talked about the coax. Extra guide wire. I use paracord, and I get it in the large roll, 1,200 feet. So if I run out, I'm in a world of hurt. But have you what you need on winders so that you just grab one or two and you're good to go, even though you got 2 or 3 extra. If you need them, you're in good shape. But if you don't have them and you need them, you're in trouble. Okay. If you're crazy like me and you want to watch other people's excitement, invite somebody to go out with you that's a ham, that may have shown some type of interest. Be an Elmer. Reach out, take them with, show them what you're doing. In other words, show them your setup. Set the antenna up and let them get involved and be a part of it so they see it, feel it, touch it, smell it. Do a 2-op. I've started Mike out, and I'm bragging, I started Mike out. And I've known Mike for 24 years. KN4XP, that's my running partner. Jim, Mike and I took Jim to his first activation. 130 contacts that day. Oh, we were blessed that day. But the thing is, 130 contacts and he was done. And we run 180 contacts. That was his first activation. And that was with 3 people. Take somebody with you. Don't always go by yourself if you don't have to, if somebody has an interest. You know, don't beg anybody to go with you. But if somebody wants that opportunity, share what you got. Share your little bit of knowledge and increases their little bit of knowledge. You might learn something new from them. Take somebody with you. Grow the POTA addiction. POTA is in CW, and I chased some CW POTA. It's been 24 years since I was actively at CW, and I've started to go back to it, and I'm enjoying it. I really am. But I don't know if I've got enough in me yet to do a CW activation. So maybe in time. Remember the story, if you got a lemon thrown at you, make lemonade out of it. Don't give up. Try to work on something that's going to get you past that. Okay? Think outside your box. Think outside of the normal contacts on ham radio. There's got to be something more fun than connecting into a net and sitting there and talk for 20 minutes about your doctor bill. And I'm not picking on anybody's doctor bills, okay? I have fun looking at how many countries, how many states, how many counties that I can talk to using a piece of wire in the air. Higher the wire, the better. Running 12 volts off of a battery that